Chapter 3, to find the mean is the same as the average. So you add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So when you add them all up, you get 430, divide by 5 equals 86. That's the mean. If you use a calculator to do this, be sure that after you hit that last number, you hit enter and then divide. Otherwise, it will divide just the last number. To find the median, it depends on how many numbers there are. If you have an odd number of numbers, like 5 numbers, there is an exact middle. Think about the median of a highway is the middle. Okay, what if there are an even number of numbers, like 6 numbers? So for this second example, where we have 6 numbers there, you average the 2 in the middle, which means add them and divide. Okay, there at the top, if we have those 5 numbers, 80, 80, 85, 90, 95, the mode would be 80 because that is the most often. Okay, that second example underneath that line, I didn't mean to erase that. That second example there are no repeats, so everything there is the same number of times, so there would be no mode. Okay, what's most often is called the mode. Okay, the mid-range is to average the high number and the low number, the biggest and the smallest. Okay, always make sure that they're in order when you're looking for numbers, like being the smallest or the largest. Always make sure they're arranged in little to big. Okay, so you just average those two, which means add them and divide by 2. Okay, next, measures of variation. The range is to take the biggest number and subtract the lowest number. Also, make sure that you put them in order so you see what's little and big. Okay, now the sample variance, this is more complicated. The sample variance, the notation is S squared. Okay, and there's the formula. This funny looking E is the Greek letter sigma on the right, and it means to add. N means how many numbers there are. Okay, so we've got 5 numbers there, so N is 5. The formula inside the parentheses, that means take each number, subtract the mean. Then you square each of those. Then you add. Okay, that's what that Greek letter means, is to add. And then you divide. Okay, for the sample variance, we divide by n minus 1. Okay, now we found the mean of these 5 numbers on a previous page, and it was 86. Okay, so we take each of those 5 numbers and subtract the mean of 86. So 80 minus 86, 80 minus 86 again, and so forth. Okay, then we square each of those. So 80 minus 86 is negative 6. 80 minus 86 is negative 6. 85 minus 86 is negative 1. 90 minus 86 is 4. And 95 minus 86 is 9. Okay, square means that number times itself. A negative 6 times a negative 6 is positive 36. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 9 times 9 is 81. Okay, we add those up. On the bottom, our formula is n minus 1. There were 5 numbers. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So when you divide, you get 42.5. And that is S squared, and that's called the sample variance. Okay, the sample standard deviation is S, and you just take the square root of the sample variance. So for our previous example, just take the square root of 42.5. Okay, a box plot is what's called a 5-number summary, and it has a box in the middle and like these wings that go out to the side. The first number on the far left is the minimum value of a data set. The left side of the box is the first quartile called Q1. Where the line is in the middle of the box is Q2, which is also the median. The right side of the box is Q3, the third quartile. And the very last number on the end is the maximum. Okay, so if you have a data set, this is called the 5-number summary. It's called a box plot. Okay, a Z-score is when you take a number and subtract the mean and divide by the standard deviation. And what this does is compare a number to the average. Okay, where something is in relation to the average. Is it lower? Is it higher? Is it close to the average? So let's say the mean birth weight is 7.5 pounds. The standard deviation is 1.2 pounds. And a baby weighed 6.37 pounds. So the Z-score for that would be to take 6.37, subtract the mean of 7.5, and divide by the standard deviation that was given. Okay, the mean and standard deviation have to be given to you in the problem. Okay, what's more extreme for a Z-score? We're talking about Z-scores. More extreme means further from 0. So the further you go from 0, the more extreme it is. Okay, so if you look on the right side of that number line, 1.4 is more extreme than 0.2. On that left side, negative 1.5 is more extreme than negative 1.4. Okay, it means how far something is, how different it is from the average. Okay, a GPA is a weighted mean, and the weight is the number of credit hours. Okay, so for an A, you get 4 points. B is 3, C is 2, D is 1. So find the GPA for somebody that got an A in a 3-hour, B in 2, C in 4-hour, and an A in a 1-hour. So that's 10 credit hours. So you multiply what each thing is worth times the number of credit hours, and that's called quality points. So an A is worth 4 times 3 hours is 12 quality points. The B in 2 hours, a B is worth 3 times the 2 hours is 6 quality points. A C in a 4-hour, C is worth 2 times the 4 hours is 8 quality points. An A is worth 4 points times a 1-hour credit gives you 4 quality points. So you add up the quality points and you get 30. You divide by the number of credit hours, and that's your GPA. And that's the end.